Once in a small town, there lived a young woman named Lena. She was known far and wide for her beauty. Lena had dreams of a life filled with luxury, ease, and admiration. She wanted a life where she didn't have to work hard for anything, where every wish was fulfilled effortlessly. She was tired of working hard, trying to make ends meet like everyone else. She often said to her friends, "Why work for gold when you can marry it?" One day, a wealthy, older businessman named Mr. Caldwell moved into town. All the women wanted him, but he was a busy man and easily intimidated by their motives. He preferred spending his time alone in his mansion, reminiscing about the past and planning for the future. Lena saw this as her opportunity. She knew she could impress him, not with her looks alone, but by pretending to share his interests. So she started frequenting the art galleries and charity events he liked to visit. She dressed in elegant, expensive clothes and learned all about classic art and international economics. Within a few months, she caught Mr. Caldwell's attention, and he began to fall for her charms. A year later, they were married, and Lena was living in a mansion just like she always dreamed. There were chandeliers, marble floors, and an endless supply of luxurious items. But life behind those tall gates wasn't what she expected. Mr. Caldwell was a kind man, but he was also often away on business, leaving Lena alone in the sprawling mansion. The staff were numerous, but kept their distance, doing their best to anticipate her needs without actually engaging with her. Lena had always imagined having a close-knit family, but she found herself strangely isolated. She missed her friends and family, but their lives were now worlds apart. She couldn't relate to the conversations of the servants. And when they left her alone, the silence was deafening. At first, Lena threw herself into exploring the house. It was a grand old place with many rooms and hidden nooks. She found a gym and a movie theater, a greenhouse, and a library, but even these failed to keep her company. She began taking long walks on the manicured grounds, but soon the paths became familiar, and the solitude became unbearable. She tried calling her friends, but the conversations were strained. They knew her situation and couldn't help but envy her. Soon, Lena stopped making calls and venturing out. She spent her days wandering from room to room, finding fault with everything. She would call the servants to complain about the smallest things, and when they left, she would spend hours waiting for them to return and fix the problems they had never caused. Her life had become a cycle of meaningless activities, excessive eating and sleeping. She was trapped in a gilded cage of her own making. One rainy afternoon, with nothing to do, Lena found herself in the library. It was a beautiful room with high ceilings and floor-to-ceiling bookshelves. She had never spent much time here before, but now she found herself drawn to a particular book. It was an old, leather-bound journal with brass clasps. As she opened it, she found entries written in a familiar hand. It was Mr. Caldwell's journal. She began to read. She learned about a young boy who dreamed of becoming a successful businessman despite his humble beginnings. She read about the sacrifices he made, the risks he took, and the goals he achieved. But more importantly, she learned about the man he had become, a man of integrity, compassion, and purpose. For the first time, Lena saw beyond the gold. She understood that her husband's wealth was not just an accumulation of money, but a testament to his character. It was the product of his hard work, intelligence, and perseverance. It represented not just privilege and power, but a life filled with purpose and meaning. Lena was ashamed of herself for what she had done. She realized that she had been wrong. Gold isn't just something you marry, it's something you earn. And sometimes earning it means more than just having it.